Hello folks, I am Meenakshi. I think you must be wondering why I kept this ball today. Let's kickstart our episode today from this ball. Make no mistake, the spherical beauty which enables the game of football to get into play mode did not develop itself overnight. Like the sport itself, it took long years to emerge, the fusion of technology to playing an important role in recent years. Today, as we focus on the humble ball, we shall take a look back on the changes that got involved in the making of the most important equipment of the simplest game. Historical records teach us that the Chinese played the game with a ball crafted with animal skin filled together to make a spear. Interesting, right? Likewise, the Mayan and Aztec Indians in Central America used a rubber ball made out of latex of rubber wood. The Egyptians filled seeds in linen to play the game or made balls from animal skin for improved bouncing. On the other hand, the Greeks who too wrapped their ball in linen but with hair rather than seeds. As time passed from these ancient days to the modern age and the game came to be played disassociating from rugby. In England, balls made out of pig bladders were generally used before a standardized size and the spherical shape was established. It does seem bizarre now, right? Like how the pig bladders with a distinctive plum-like shape actually help the players then to actually go through the motions. Be that it may so, how too the problem of pig bladders which would not have come in the shape or size helped in the actual development of the game. Why so? Because the type of bladder one got did often dictate how reacted when it was kicked around, thrown or headed, all common characteristics of the game. Finally, this problem got solved only in 1862 when rubber inner tubes were introduced by Richard Linden. That again was dictated purely out of chance or rather need. Linden, who was involved in making the balls out of pig bladders, was forced to look out for alternatives after his wife, who had been helping him to blow up the pig bladders, passed away. Her sudden death was likely from a disease or infection she got inflicted from one of the bladders. Searching out for a solution, Linden found out that using Indian rubber to make the ball would solve his problem. However, rubber was far too difficult to blow up by mouth and hence Linden was again forced to the drawing boards before he invented the first non-ball pump. The FA, formed in 1863, made no specification regarding the size and shape of the ball when it published its first set of rules. This was included only in the revised rules of 1872 and written down for the first time. It is indeed interesting that the technical specifications included in this particular set of rules has stood the test of time through all these years, but for one change regarding the weight of the ball, which is now set at 14 to 16 ounces instead of the original 13 to 15 ounces. Of course, the other key thing that differs today than in the past is the material that balls are made from, again thanks to technology. When Mitre started mass production of balls in 1888, they had used heavy leather to ensure that the ball kept its shape. A further revolution came about when inner bladders made with strong rubber that could withstand a lot of pressure in the start of the 20th century. The casing of the ball then was made up of 6 panels of 3 strips each, the stitching being restricted to one side. The finished product was more often than not dyed dark brown for reasons of uniformity. However, certain problems still did persist. It was good for kicking, but the stitching and the leather absorbed water, making the ball as a whole heavier and an absolute nightmare for headers. The evolution of the ball as we know today thus would take more further time to gain perfection. In more ways than one, the World Cup would serve as a cause for more technical finesse and perfection. Soon after the Second World War, which had caused the cancellation of third editions of the Blue Ribbon event, a breakthrough was made. The insertion of material between the outer casing and the inner bladder offered a lot of cushioning and also ensured that the ball could maintain its shape easier. Another change was also brought about during this time, as the color of the ball was given a new look, with it being whitewashed to add its visibility among the growing number of spectators. This was done so as matches were now being played under floodlights, and when games were played when it snowed, an orange ball was used. Also, it was during this time that balls which were laced together with a cotton thread or some other material in the early days got a new neck. This was due to the invention of a valve to contain the air in the ball without any loss of pressure. The new valve was part of the official ball for the 1950 World Cup, and the syringe valve has been part of the ball ever since then. In the initial days of the World Cup, there was no uniformity in the make of the ball used for its matches. One little known fact about this involves the final of the inaugural World Cup in Uruguay in 1930. With there being no consensus on the type of the ball to be used in the final, it was decided to give a fair chance to both the finalists. Accordingly, an Argentinian ball was used in the first half, at the end of which the visitors were up 2-1. In the second, it was turn of Uruguay to field its own ball, and it is still a matter of conjecture of whether the hosts would have eventually emerged the winner of the match at 4-2 had the Argentinian ball been used for the entire duration. Different countries continued to play with different type of ball in the ensuing years as well, causing several problems. A matter of great surprise is that the usually vigilant FIFA continued to waver on this most important aspect for a long time, and it was not until 1996 did the world body introduce a proper quality program for footballs. Meanwhile, the development of the ball continued all the same, and the noteworthy incident was the introduction of the Buckminster ball. This one, which came to be known as Bucky, was developed by Richard Buckminster Fuller and was made up of 20 hexagonal and 12 pentagonal surfaces sewn together in a near perfect sphere. This new type of ball was officially used for the first time at the 1970 World Cup in Mexico, which all put to an end to the practice of the host country selecting their own brands for play in the showpiece event. FIFA picked the German sport manufacturing firm Adidas to create the ball for Mexico, and its product, Telstar, was an instant success. Also, for the first time, the ball featured alternating white and black panels made out so to help players judge from the dark color the swerve taking effect on the ball. Adidas since 1970 has been the official producers of the ball in all the World Cups held thereafter. It was not until 1982 in Spain that rubber was inlaid over the seams in an attempt to stop water seeping into the balls. 4 years later, as the tournament returned to Mexico, there was another change as polyurethane balls, replacing the leather balls, were used for the first time. France 1998 marked the first time when an official ball was given color other than the usual black and white. Blue replaced black as a secondary color, and a small amount of red was also thrown in to resemble the French national flag, the tricolour. 2002, which saw two countries being the co-hosts of the World Cup, Japan and South Korea, witnessed the ball being flavoured with a golden colour, marking an innovative shift in the designing of the balls. Team Geist, introduced in 2006, also had a shift in the design, as it was made up of only 14 panels instead of the traditional 32, in an attempt to give more control to the players and a completely spherical shape than ever before. The panels, interestingly, were molded rather than stitched until then. There was a dramatic drop in the number of panels in the making of Jabulani for South Africa, from 14 to just 8, though it did not receive the expected reviews. There was a further reduction in the number of panels to 6 this time around in the Brazuca used in 2014, while Adidas preferred a refinement of its first classic Telstar for 2018, named Telstar 18. In Qatar later this year, Adidas is all set to introduce Al Rila, which is certain to determine the course of action that will take shape over there from November 21st to December 18 this year. However, one is for sure, designers will still be looking forward to producing much better balls in the years ahead, meaning that the long journey from pig bladders to coarse leather products and synthetic surface balls is unlikely to end anytime soon. Stay tuned to Striking Seconds for more soccer stories. Hasta la vista.